Hey everyone, Mary Pat here, and today I'm going to be making a new card using this brand new Digi Stamp from Some Odd Girl, and it's the most adorable sea turtle ever. I just love them, and so we'll be coloring that in just a bit. But first I want to do some watercolors, and again, I just have a really basic set of watercolors, nothing fancy, and I even using my kids' brush on that. And I'm just going to be putting down, I want to kind of create like the ocean in the background, and I'm just going to be putting in some green, and again, I'm not covering the whole part. I just kind of want the center piece to have this watercolor effect. And then I am putting in some of this gorgeous blue and mixing that down at the bottom, so we've got the green and the blue kind of mixed together. And I like that, but I kind of wanted a different effect, so I'm adding some yellow up at the top, and then just to kind of blend the green and the blue together, I added some yellow, and I really like how that looks. And so I'm going to set that aside, and I have to let that dry for a while, and because you can't work with it obviously when it's wet. So I'm going to set that aside so now that I can come in and color this cutie here. So I've got my Spectrum Noir markers, and I'm going to be using the GT1, GT2, and GT3. So I'm going to start off, and I'm just going to put a layer down of the lightest shade, the GT1, and I'm just going to be coloring his head and his body right now in that. Next, I'm going to go in with my darkest shade, and that is the GT3, and I'm just going to outline just to hit the shape of his body and going along there just to give it some shading, and so you can kind of see here I've just kind of gone along the natural shape of the Digi Stamp of his body and going through that. Next, I'm going in with my GT2, and I'm just kind of blending, going right up against the line and then pulling that color out and bringing that all together so that you've got the darker shade and the lighter shade. I'm going back again now with my darker shade, and I just kind of want to in some of the body areas, I just kind of want to make those a little bit darker and bring those out a little bit on his flippers, and a little bit on top of his head with that. And now just to touch up a little bit more, going with the GT2 and just kind of bringing that out just a little bit and using some flicking motion on that, and I really like how that turned out. Now for his great shell, I'm coloring that in with BT4, and I'm just covering all of that in there. I really love the blues and the greens. I know turtles, when you think, are kind of like the green and the browns, but I wanted some bright colors on this little guy. And so I put a nice layer of the lightest color down. Now I'm going in with my BT6, and I'm coloring the top of his shell and putting that in, and then going in with my darkest and going in with BT8 and filling that in a little bit. And next I'm going to outline his shell there, and I've got that in BT7, and I'm just going to kind of leave a little bit, leave a little gap there to let that show. And now I'm going to outline his shell, and just to kind of give it a little bit. And then I'm going in with BT6 and going in and just kind of bringing some color out and seeing how that's working. And now I'm going to go back in with my lighter shade and pull those colors together and kind of blend them so that there isn't that harsh line there, and it's working really nicely with that. So you have this great green and turquoise shell and body with this cute little guy. And again, just kind of blending them all together with that lightest shade. And I really like how that looks. And so now I'm going to fussy cut this cutie out. And so then here is what I have with the little guy. I think he turned out beautifully. And now I need to kind of work on the sentiment. So I'm going to be using this stamp set on the left, which is Hey May, and I want to use that little speech bubble and using hello. So I've got my Jenny Bolin ink, and I'm using a great orange because I thought that would look really great with the blues and the turquoises. So now I've put some foam backing, foam tape on the back of my sentiment and my turtle, and I am going to foam dot him on, and I have them right in the center there so that he kind of pops with the color. And then I have my hello, and I love that. Now I always like to add a little bit of bling, so I'm going to be using my odds and ends sequins, and I'm going to use some of those. The colors in the sequins here look absolutely marvelous with the watercolors. So I'm taking my glossy accents, and I'm just going to use 3 to kind of go around him, and just putting them in there. So I've got a yellow, and I'm using another yellow, and then I'm going to be placing one of the blues on top, and it's awesome because the blues are almost identical there. So there's then part of the card, and now I want to place that on top of my card because this is by 4 by 5 1/4, and I've got my foam dots all on there, and so I want this section to be raised off of the card just a little bit so that it shows a little bit of the dimension. So putting that on there and lining that up, and then just kind of pressing down and making sure that it looks awesome, and it does. I really like how that looks. So please stop by Some Odd Girl and check out the new Digi Stamp Sea Turtle. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye.